channel, baby.
Yeah.
What it do, Half and J family. Welcome back to the channel, baby. It's your boy Half.
And your girl Jay.
And we back
with another reaction video.
All right, y'all, welcome back to the Chizano.
Welcome back.
We about to get into some more reactions today. Y'all see the title and y'all see the thumbnail. So, let them know who to react to today.
Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk.
And the video is titled, College Girl Convinced White People Hate Her for Being Black.
All right, so we got a college girl that thinks that all white people hate her because she's black. All white people. So, let's see what she has to say. Pretty sure she has something to say. But let's get into it. But before we do, everybody else out there who has not yet subscribed to that Chizano, go ahead, subscribe.
Yes.
Turn your notifications on.
Yes.
Like and share this video.
Yes.
And then comment down below, baby.
Come on.
Come and join the squad.
Yes. Patton Ca.
You did. Plus, we over here kicking it off.
What?
Good vibes, baby. Good vibes. Boom.
Your phone.
Oh. You right. I was listening to the game too at the same time, y'all. Man, it's playoffs. Maybe it's playoffs.
Who's up? Disagreements? Yes.
Disagree.
Okay. How are you?
Hi. Yes. I don't know the. Am I supposed to say my name or just?
You want to.
Okay. My name is Gigi. I guess I'm mostly on the side of disagreeing because I feel like I don't think that behind this presidency, I don't think that this country is headed towards a bright future. I don't think that under this presidency that we are going to stand united. I think that it is going to divide us even more and that it is dividing us. And I also don't think that this presidency is built on a love of all people. I feel like whenever I hear Trump specifically talk, there are notions of not black people specifically, but people of color being seen as murderers and rapists, and it's specifically targeted towards brown people. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, my question for you is, do you think this country, or do you think that Trump is going to do the American public right in the overall of his presidency?
Yes.
Okay. Are you worried about the state of this country under his presidency when it comes to economic setbacks, when it comes to another Great Depression, when it comes to stocks going down, et cetera, et cetera? Are you worried that
No.
he is going to do anything like that?
I don't have those concerns. And by the way, inflation's going down, and the price of eggs is going down, everybody, big time. But go ahead. I want you to thoroughly complete your argument, and then I'll say something.
Okay. I guess basically the point of my argument is, I think that President Trump, and I think that this country's view, especially when we're coming now into DEI and we're coming into defunding of Department of Education, we're coming to taking the Tuskegee Airmen out of being taught.
That has been reversed, just for the record.
Okay.
Tuskegee Airmen.
But there's been multiple other things besides Tuskegee, but also the whole debate on critical race theory, teaching slavery in schools, teaching black history, et cetera, et cetera. These are things that are being targeted specifically when it took years and years to even get them in place. I think that this country is built on using the Bible, not even 100 years ago, to defame and to dehumanize black people. There has been use of the Bible specifically when people used to come into the church and talk about how slaves should obey their masters, and how that's what the whole relationship between white and black people were. I think that this country specifically has a lot of racist rhetoric that is built in, that is not being targeted. I think that
So let's try to find
Yes.
some common ground. Is that okay?
that's fine. That's fine.
Can you give me a definition of racism?
Racism, in terms of, I will say, okay, before I
You
give...
use the term,
Yes.
so I want to make sure we're
That's
talking
fair.
about the same thing. Is that cool?
Yes, that's fair. I will say that I will state that I am biased because I will be speaking as a black person specifically from the United States of America, and not anywhere
nice.
else. But I will say racism is a discrimination against people of a minority that does not have a... Okay, what is racism? Racism, without using the word,
Can't use the word racism.
Can't use the word. That's something I'm trying. A discrimination against a minority class of people in order to create an unbalance in the society or a hierarchy based on something that is undetermined as of color, race, the color of your skin, or maybe even color of your skin.
Can you be racist against Asians?
Yes.
Can you be racist against white people?
I believe that you can have prejudice against white people, but in the way that this country was built and the way that this country has been founded and the way that there are many laws that have taken place, specific like where you were talking earlier with the whole reparations debate, there are many legacies of white people in this country that...
Guys, just... Okay, let's just all take a breath. Gigi's talking.
Which I also would like, I feel like that kind of comes into... Yes, we're not all from this country. This is a country of immigrants. This is a country of people from other countries.
So let me give you an example.
Yes.
If a group of black individuals, which happens unfortunately so often, say, we want to go beat up whitey, and they go beat up a white person, was that a racist thing that they did?
I would have to ask for further context, but yes. Based off of that,
Cool.
yes.
So, but then let's go back to your definition. Because your definition was that it had to be the exercise of power. I'm going to make your definition better for you
That's
because
fair. That's
the
fair.
exercise of power against a minority group.
Yes.
But in that case, it wouldn't be because it would be a group of black individuals versus a white individual.
Correct.
So wouldn't a better definition of racism be a human being or institution prejudicing or stereotyping against anybody else because of their race?
I do agree that is a better there's a better definition in terms of how racism is used in society, in terms of setting people behind not having equal amounts of opportunities in these institutions, specifically colleges, jobs, etc., hospitals. But that is my point. I feel like in this country, we don't talk about enough, and I think that under this presidency...
Don't talk about what enough?
We don't talk about the history and the impact of long-term racism in this country against minorities.
Can I just press pause?
Yes.
That's all we've talked about the last 5 years. I mean, but hear me out. 1619 Project. We have entire black dedicated channels on Pluto and Hulu and Netflix. We have reoriented the entire national dialogue towards, we had the President of the United States, Joe Biden, take a knee for Black Lives Matter, to have racial reconciliation seminars, to have non-stop race obsession. So I think we've talked about it thoroughly and properly.
So do you think that black people in this country have equal opportunity and are treated equally as white
Absolutely. So let me prove it to you, okay? So Gigi and Charlie. What can Charlie do that Gigi can't do?
Okay, I don't know anything. I don't really know much about you. I don't know
Based on the
what
law.
you're capable of.
No, just on the law. What am I allowed to do on the law that you are not allowed to do on the law?
On paper, nothing.
That's equal opportunity and equal treatment, right?
Country, I am a citizen of America. I am an American. I am a black American. I am a follower. I am a child of God. We all are. I 100% stand on that. But I think that basically what I'm trying to get at is I feel like in order for us to have these conversations and to keep having these conversations, we need to have a specific platform that we're able to meet each other on the common consciousness of this society. And I don't think we can have these conversations if we do not understand that black people specifically, because I really can't talk about Asians, I'm not Asian, I can't talk about other people of color, but black people in this country specifically have never had the opportunities to bring themselves back up. When we were talking about the destroyment of the black family, that also came with a big chunk of the Reagan administration, which was forever and whatever ago.
How is it the government's fault of why dads aren't around?
I mean, we could get into the whole, like, the rhetoric of crack babies and crack drug dealers.
So, but isn't it a decision to take drugs?
Oh, no, 100%.
So, and it's a decision to commit crimes.
Yes.
Okay, so the government didn't do that to them. People decided to take drugs.
That's true. But do you feel like these populations or these communities have, in statistics, been overly populated by police officers?
Well, so you seem like a really sweet person. So I don't want to try to be too intense. Is that cool?
Go ahead.
What percentage of America is black? 13%, right? Yes. What percentage of the murders in America are committed by black people?
I don't know the specific statistics.
Yes.
It's 50%.
It's 60%.
60%.
So maybe when you do 60% of the killings and you're 13% of America, more cops should be around your neighborhoods.
But there's no cops there's not an equal.
That's crazy. That number's true. I'm gonna look that number up myself. 60% of he said the murders or the crimes?
Murders.
Wow. That's crazy. He's only 13% of the population? That's crazy. I'm gonna look that up though.
When you do 60% of the killings and you're 13% of America, more cops should be around your neighborhoods.
But there's no cops there's not an equal number of cops in the white suburban neighborhoods
because
in the same neighborhood. The same neighborhoods that are controlling the they have cocaine in their houses, but it's not treated the same.
And this is okay, Gigi, because it really is flushing out our different worldviews. You look at cops as if they're there to catch you and get you. We look at cops as they're there to protect and serve and help us.
And that's only because in this country, I mean, police used to be able to drag black people out in the streets and hose them down and sick dogs on them and tear them apart. And we never really had the conversation that where did we get away from that?
We definitely had the conversation. After George Floyd, the whole country blew up under the conversation. Okay.
Yes, but it was a big standing on should cops be able to do this? It's almost as if when a black person is murdered by police or at the hands of police, the bullet that came from a police officer.
On average, how many times a year would you say a black person killed by police?
I mean, at one point it was happening at least. Okay, if it was happening at least last year, it was going on about. It was at least a month that it was a major case. But in terms of the average city, I don't know the average city.
Right?
I know though, but in terms of what actually makes it to major media, because
it's the Washington Post's own database, left wing. 10 black individuals a year. So here's my contention. So you have a population that dads are not around, that is very, very murderous per population capita, that is very violent, more likely to be involved in gangs, and we, as conservatives look at that and we say, wait a second, the problem is within the community. The problem is not the government, the problem is not the culture, the problem is not the history. Instead, really what needs to happen is black leadership, black pastors, and black dads need to go into the black community and say, we're better than this.
Right.
Cut the killing, cut the violence. Do you know the most, one more point.
Go ahead.
Who is, outside of heart disease and all that, what is the number one killer of black people in America?
I know about diabetes, but...
Fellow black people. A black person is far more likely to be killed by another black person than anything else. Black people are a greater threat to their own people than any other community. So it's not like white supremacists coming into these communities and they're mowing down. It's black on black gang violence.
Right.
But that's not, okay. I just like to go back to something that you said earlier about how it has nothing to do with the government. history of black people in this country has everything to do with the government. At one point, the government allowed and pushed and raised forced slavery. That was something that this government did. They made laws in the improvement of segregation. So in terms of the long history, you can't take out the fact that government has played a major institution.
Of course, government plays a role. But let's take you, Gigi. How did government... You gotta move over, man. You're blocking their view. Can you please move?
No, I'm good right here. I'm not disrupting anything.
You are. They can't see. You're blocking people. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, but Gigi, let me. Yeah. All right. So, Gigi, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
How did that legacy of slavery prevent you from getting to this school and having a great career?
I think that. Okay. I'm sorry, I got kind of distracted. Can you please restate your
So,
question?
Gigi, what I'm trying to do right now, I'm going to give you a warning, is prove that your own life experience is actually at odds with some of the things you're saying. Is that cool? So here you are at the University of Tennessee, correct? You're a student.
Yes.
You have the whole world as your oyster in front of you. You could study hard, you're going to graduate, you're going to do better than most people in probably the community you came from. Just guessing. I don't know your background, but based on how you're talking. How did the legacy of slavery get in your way?
Right.
I will say the legacy of slavery got in my way in the way that I am not a legacy child here. I would say that it got in my way in the way that my parents, my grandparents were not afforded the same, were not at one point even allowed to be on the property of this school. I think that is one of the things that has gotten into this way.
But you're here. It didn't get in the way. So here's the attitude I want you to adopt, Gigi, and I'll close with this. Instead of just looking at everything in the past that's wrong and bad through a victim lens, say, you know what?
It's still going on. Okay.
One sec. Say, you know what? I'm an American, and I'm going to use my mental energy to say, despite all of that, I get to succeed and flourish and prosper as a black American at the University of Tennessee. You are a living embodiment, Gigi, that you can still succeed as a black individual.
I would just disagree from the simple fact that I feel like there are a lot of barriers, there's a lot of obstacles, there's a lot of prejudice just in somebody might look at me and not even assume that I could
How
even
do you
get
know
into
what they're
the
thinking?
university.
Right.
I'm not saying that I know what people I don't know what people
You just
are
said
thinking.
that.
I'm saying I can assume from prejudices that I know exist in this country.
Hold on a second, I gotta go
even
time out. And you know what? If you walk around here and you go see, this happens all the time, and you see a white boy with the short shorts and kind of acting all, you might say, he's only there because of his parents.
I don't think so.
Oh, it happens a lot at these southern schools, right?
I mean, it happened. I mean, I was raised
So
in Michigan.
everybody has to overcome some form of bias, prejudice, or stereotyping. What's most helpful? Let's stop talking about it so much and talking about how we can apply ourselves to become better people and better citizens. Thank you so much, Gigi. Thank you.
She made some pretty valid points though. You know, I know one incident. So on the part when he said, "Do you feel like you have the same, I guess, rights?" I think he said law rights or something like that, and as he does, something that he was saying.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I remember there was an incident, and I'm not gonna speak no names of what happened with that, but I was working for a company, and I became real good friends with a manager at this company, and there was two other managers above her. One was a general manager, one was like a manager underneath the GM. Long story short, she used to tell me that when people came in to apply for a job, they would put a certain code on the application to say whether they was black or Hispanic. And if they were black, they used to put them at the bottom of the pile and work their way from the top down. I think that's kind of like what she's referring to when she says that some black people don't have the complete opportunity that maybe some white people do have. Because white people that I know of, I don't think have to go through that kind of situation. by applying somewhere, they got to put a certain code on their application saying, "Oh, this person's white," unless they're going to a predominantly black business and somebody black that's there is presidents themselves, and they got the same kind of thing going on, right? But I'm guessing that's very, very slim. I'm guessing because it's not a lot of black businesses that's around as there is white, right? So I'm thinking that's kind of like where she's leaning toward when she was making that little argument there. Because we all know that there is still racism in this country. It does still exist. No, it does not exist how it used to exist years ago. Yes, as black people and as a black community, we do have a lot more opportunities, a lot more resources, et cetera, to where we can, like Kirk said, we can actually go to these universities, get a good education, graduate and prosper in life, Are there times that you may be held back because you're black? My personal opinion, I believe that. I truly do. I feel like there are some people in this country who's in great power that will have a say-so about that. My personal opinion. Why do I feel that way? Because like I said, I used to work for a company that actually did that, So that's why I say I think both of them was making some great points of the conversation.
Okay.
So
it's fair to say that it happens. It happens a lot well, not a lot, but it happens to different races.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. But do I feel like it happens to white like it happens to maybe other races? No, I don't feel that way. Why? Again, because I say majority of businesses is owned by white people, or they have some type of play within that higher management type of thing, general manager, chairman, whatever. And like I say, the only reason why I say that is because I actually lived it and seen it with my own eyes in the company that I used to work for myself. They actually got fired for that because it came to be true. They was being recorded and not knowing, things like that. So that's the only reason why I feel that way is because, like I said, I have seen it with my own eyes. Now, I'm not saying that it happens all the time. I'm saying that it happens 70%, 75%, whatever the case may be. I don't know the exact numbers of all that, but I think that's the argument that she was trying to make to Kurt about being black. And it can be the same way if you're black living inside a black community that, like he said, that's high on crime rate, right? You may not have nothing to do with gangs, street life, nothing. You know what I mean? Straight schoolboy, whatever. And you could be leaving out your apartment complex and get pulled over by the police. We had this conversation before. Just because where you live at. You know what I'm saying? You're being targeted just because of where you live at. Even though you don't have anything to do with the street life or gang life. I think that's the argument that she was kind of make to Kurt. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like unless you actually lived in that kind of environment and been harassed in that kind of way, I don't think you can never really truly understand. My personal opinion.
I have so many things to say.
I'm sure you do. we got 25 minutes, so once you try to cut a little bit short.
Try to cut it short. Like Kirk was saying, I do feel like pastors and black men as leaders need to come in and like really step up.
No, I believe that 100%.
Teach black males skills. Have them be skilled in something. Just help our community, like I said, hold each other accountable. Women and men. We have a lack of accountability for ourselves and others, and that's just the facts. And then want to feel privileged in certain situations when I don't know. It's so much with our community that.
No, he made a very good point that the problem is in our own community. That's 100%
course.
facts right there. Like we definitely got to fix that for sure.
Right.
And like you just said, we got to have pastors and black men and black fathers step up and be the leaders. I also had somebody tell me that they feel that black men, that's so-called leaders or whatnot in the community, don't really want to step up and be the forefront because when you think about the past leaders that was black, that tried to push for that same type of thing, the peace in the community, things like that, they got killed by their own people, like Kirk said. You know what I'm saying? Their own people are taking them out when they're trying to even do good for that community. Malcolm X is one. Martin Luther King is another. You know what I'm saying? So
what you're saying is leaders are afraid
that's what I think.
to step up to the plate.
That's what I think. I think they're scared.
So we'll forever be doomed as a race.
Hopefully not. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, and, you know, this is what me and one of my Hispanic guys was talking about. I'm going to end my conversation here. You can keep going. But he said that, he said it's crazy because when slavery was going on back then, how blacks came together. Like, they had to stand together because it was kind of like, quote unquote, everybody against them type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had to stick together as a whole. Now that slavery is over with and we're kind of free to do as we want, we can't get together and come together for nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? We walk by one another, we mad dogging each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? Looking each other up and down, trying to size each other up. Why? I have no clue. You know, I just think it has a lot to do with not with the black fathers being absent in the family. I think it's a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, a lot of hate. You know what I'm saying? A lot of depression, emasculation
from single mothers,
right,
trying to raise men,
right,
and doing it absolutely wrong.
Right.
Like, a woman cannot raise a man. Right. Period. Point blank.
Right. And I think if you're a man and never had a father figure around, my personal opinion, I just feel like it's hard to even dictate what a man's supposed to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how to actually truly be a man, because you never was taught that. You can only go off of either what you feel is right as being a man, or what you may have seen from others, and you just put that together and make your own man type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And I feel the same goes for women. You know, like a lot of men say, you know, oh, you don't know, how to be a woman or how to be whatever. And a lot of men, like I said, a lot of black women, a lot of black men never even had a dad around.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like how you can even speak about that if your dad was never around. Like my dad, for example, he was on crack. You know, so, you know, he was around, but he wasn't around. You know what I mean? Like,
this has to be a whole separate video. We almost 30
so yeah.
minutes.
But anyway, let's do some shout outs though.
Okay, so first shout out goes to Gene Fuller. What's up, Gene Fuller?
Gene Fuller, shout out to you. Hope you definitely enjoyed that reaction. Let us know what you thought about it. Comment down below.
Yes. Second shout out goes to Mr. Bad Seal. What's up, Mr. Bad Seal?
Mr. Bad Seal, shout out to you. Hope you definitely enjoyed the reaction. Let us know what you thought about it. Comment down below. We love you guys.
Yes, we do.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes, they've been catching us while we looking busted and
No, I know.
disgusted.
I'm looking busted.
I am too. I look tired every video now.
No.
Y'all, I've been moving
I am
nonstop.
looking busted. I'm talking about, listen, my mustache hairs get all into my nose, man. My nose be itching. That's why y'all see me going all the time.
All of that. We just
and
look
look
tired.
at that there. Woo! My hair look tired, boy. That thing up there look like a nest. You know what I'm saying? Look like a crow nest up there. Look at that. Woo-wee! But like I said, y'all, I promise y'all I'm gonna get it together. I just gotta find me somebody to braid my hair.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, hey, that's all on him.
Okay.
I beg nobody to do their hair.
Okay.
So,
all right. Yeah. Y'all heard Perception? Oh, okay.
Heard
I
what?
don't know. But anyway, peace, man.